Hey everyone, welcome back to Learning English Podcast. I'm Leo.
And I'm Gwen. Great to have you with us today. So, Leo, do you have anything interesting to share today?
Oh yes, I was talking to a foreign friend yesterday. He's learning English, but he has some problems with speaking.
Let me guess. He has trouble speaking, but he can read and listen well, right?
How did you know, Gwen? He said, my brain is fast when I listen, but when I speak, it just dies.
Yes, the classic brain shutdown. Many English learners struggle with that.
He told me he keeps translating in his head. He thinks in his mother tongue, French, and then translates word by word into English.
And in the end, he can't say a single word in English, right?
Exactly.
That's translation mode. Many learners fall into this trap.
I realized he's not alone. A lot of learners feel the same way.
Yes, Leo. So today, we're here to answer one big question. How can you train your brain to think in English without translating first?
That's an important question, Gwen.
This episode might be a bit longer, but it's packed with key ideas and practical tips you can actually use.
It's designed for B1 learners, but strong beginners can follow along too. We'll explain useful vocabulary and recap everything at the end.
All right, ready to stop translating and start thinking in English?
Let's do it.
Have you ever had this moment, Leo? You can read books, watch videos, even listen to podcasts in a foreign language just fine. But the moment you need to speak, your brain suddenly goes offline?
Oh, I know that feeling. That was exactly me when I started learning a new language.
And many people learning English feel the same way.
Yes, they often think, I can't speak English well because I'm not good at languages. But that's a lie your brain tells you. If you can understand English when you read or listen, your brain is clearly not stupid.
Exactly. Speaking problems are usually not about intelligence. They're about thinking habits and training. Most learners were trained to understand English, not to actually use it.
They memorize grammar rules, learn long vocabulary lists, and do exercises where the answer is already there. So their brain becomes really good at recognizing English, but terrible at producing it.
Yes, then comes the speaking moment. The brain says, okay, first think in your native language, then translate it into English, then check the grammar, then panic. That's 4 steps for one sentence. No wonder the brain freezes.
It's like trying to run while doing math in your head. Of course it feels slow, stressful, and exhausting.
The real problem is not you're bad at English. It's your brain is using the wrong system.
Your brain needs a new habit, thinking directly in English, even if the English is simple or imperfect.
And the good news is, habits can be retrained. You don't need to be smarter. You just need to train differently.
That means anyone can speak English fluently if they change the way they practice. I can't wait to know if we want our brain to think in English, what's the first step?
Easy. You need to feed it first.
Feed it? Like breakfast?
Yup. English doesn't magically appear in your brain overnight. Your brain needs food, and that food is input.
Input through your ears and your eyes, listening and watching.
Right, and here's the key point. The input must be easy and suitable.
Yes, many learners make the same mistake. They jump straight into very hard content and think, it's okay, I'll get used to it. But instead of getting used to it, their brain just gives up and says, nope, too much, I'm out.
That's why we recommend starting with easy English, even A1 level content. Some learners feel shy about that. They think A1 is too basic for me.
But that step is incredibly important. Think of it like food. If the food is too heavy, your brain can't digest it.
Easy English is like light, healthy food. It helps your brain get used to English sentence structures and the natural rhythm of the language.
For listening, simple podcasts are amazing. For example, our Learning English podcast. You hear common sentences again and again. And repetition is not boring. It's powerful.
Exactly. Your brain starts to recognize patterns without translating. You know what? Music works really well too, especially songs with repetitive lyrics.
Oh, that reminds me of my cousin.
Your cousin?
Yeah, he listens to Spanish songs all the time. One day, I heard him singing along with perfect rhythm.
Wow, and he's not studying Spanish grammar every day?
Yeah, he told me he just enjoys the music and lets the language sink in naturally.
That's amazing.
Honestly, I'm learning French the same way. I'll listen to the same song for days.
That's good, Leo. Learning a language doesn't always have to feel like studying. By the way, what kind of music do you like when learning a language, my dear friends? Pop? Indie? Ballads? Or maybe you follow one favorite singer?
Leave a comment and share it with us. Who knows? We might have the same taste.
And watching works the same way as listening. Choose content you actually enjoy, like cooking videos, football highlights, travel vlogs, anything.
When you see a tomato and hear tomato, or see someone cut something and hear cut, your brain connects English directly to real life. No translation needed. That connection is incredibly powerful.
Yes, I have one more important tip. Avoid super fast shows at the beginning. If it's too fast, your brain gets lost and stressed brains don't learn well.
Remember this: slow, easy, and enjoyable beats fast and stressful every time. Feed your brain well, and it will start thinking in English naturally.
All right, now that we've talked about input, it's time for the next step.
Yep, this is where many learners feel scared, because now we're talking about output, how actually using English, speaking it, thinking it, letting it come out of your mouth.
The goal of this part is simple. Remove the translation step. No more thinking in your native language and then translating into English before speaking. We need to go from English to English.
I'm really excited to learn this, and so are my friends.
Okay, the first rule is start very small.
Small like one single word, pen, coffee, bus.
No. Many learners only think single words like pen, coffee, bus. But one word doesn't train speaking. Speaking happens in sentences. So instead of thinking pen, think this is my pen. That's an intermediate step between vocabulary and real speaking.
Oh, it's just short, easy, and complete. This is how English works. You don't need fancy grammar. Simple sentences are perfect and powerful. The best place to practice thinking in English is in your everyday life.
Exactly. You don't need a textbook. When you wake up, try thinking, I am awake. I feel sleepy. I want coffee. When you're getting ready, try, I am brushing my teeth. I am late.
On the bus or on the way to work. I see a red car. The traffic is bad today.
These sentences are not impressive, but they are real. And that's the key to thinking directly in English. When you do this, your brain gets more exposure to English connected directly to real life.
You don't live in a translated life. You live in real life.
Exactly. The brain starts to associate English with actions, objects, and feelings, not grammar rules and fear.
And now it's your turn, listeners. Please pause the episode for a moment. Open your keyboard and leave us a comment.
Write 5 short English sentences that are in your head right now.
It can be something you want to do at this moment, like, I want to take a break, or Leo is too handsome.
Yeah, don't worry about grammar, don't translate in your head. Just let the sentences come out naturally.
We'd love to read your comments. At first, it may feel slow, but that's normal. You're building a new habit.
But over time, the translation step becomes weaker, and your reactions become faster and more natural.
Oh, I realize. This is how children learn languages. They don't translate, they connect language to life.
Oh, true. That's the most effective way to learn a language. When you get used to connecting things around you in English, it's time to say them out loud.
But Gwen, let's be honest. The biggest hurdle for most learners is the fear of talking out loud.
Right. So what happens when you talk to yourself? There's no fear at all, right? It sounds a bit crazy, but it works.
Oh, absolutely. That is a 100% judgment-free method. It sounds lonely, but it's actually a superpower for your fluency.
The best part? You can practice anytime, anywhere, in your room, in the car, or even in the shower, where we all become world-class singers and speakers anyway.
Exactly. No pressure to respond instantly, no fear of being corrected, just you and your thoughts. Hey, my friends, does talking to yourself feel a bit weird to you? Or have you ever been caught muttering in English by a confused family member?
Tell us your funniest stories in the comments.
Speaking of being caught, I have a confession. Back when I started learning French, I was obsessed with making my speech automatic. I used to narrate everything I did in public, but under my breath.
Oh no, Leo, I can see where this is going. In public is the key word here, isn't it?
Exactly. One day, I was in a crowded supermarket. I was trying to practice my French verbs, so I whispered, "Je prends la pomme," which means, I take the apple.
That sounds innocent enough.
Well, I didn't notice there was a woman standing right in front of me. When she heard me whispering to myself in a foreign language, she slowly turned around and fixed me with an unfriendly look.
Thanks for your interesting story, but I think it's better to be the weird guy with the apples who speaks French than the quiet guy who knows nothing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, back to the point. Now, if you're wondering what to actually say, don't try to give a TED Talk.
Right. Start by describing the world around you. Just point and speak. The bed is big. The table is brown. Or even, this coffee is way too hot.
It sounds simple, but it's crucial. You need to get your ears used to the sound of your own English voice. If you don't like how you sound, you will never want to speak to others.
Spot on. Try narrating your day like you're the star of a movie. Oh, I do this. I'll say, "Today I was happy," or "I ate pasta for lunch, but I accidentally spilled sauce on my shirt."
Poor Leo. But seriously, by connecting your real-life actions to English words, your brain stops translating and starts living the language. It's way more productive than counting sheep.
All right, Gwen, we've laid out the map. Which formula will our listeners start with to create a big bang in their English journey?
Well, as much as I love a good explosion, we should probably start with some simple input first. Specifically, recognizing and memorizing the key words from this lesson.
Smart move. You can't have a big bang without some matter, right? If you try to speak without vocabulary, you would just be making a lot of confident-sounding noise.
Then let's get to it. To prevent that "I want to speak but my brain is empty" feeling, we're moving into the final part, today's vocabulary menu.
All right, let's start with our first word, suitable. You pronounce it suitable.
Now, what does suitable really mean?
It means right for situation, purpose, or person. For example, this method is suitable for her English studies.
It means this learning method matches her English level. This is easy to understand, right? Or I will give another common one. This room is not suitable for children.
Maybe it's dangerous, too small, or too quiet.
Good point. Now, let's talk about when not to use it. You don't use suitable to talk about feelings.
All right, let's move on to vocabulary number 2, repetitive.
You pronounce it repetitive. You guys, repeat to me. Repetitive.
It means something that happens again and again in the same way, with little or no change.
Right. When something is repetitive, you see it, hear it, or do it many times. For example, this song is repetitive. The chorus keeps coming back, so you remember it easily.
Or another example, repetitive listening helps your brain learn English naturally. You don't need to understand everything at once. You just need to meet the same English many times until it feels familiar.
Right. Let's talk about intermediate step. You pronounce it intermediate step.
It means a step in the middle, not the beginning and not the final goal.
Exactly. It's something you do on the way to something bigger. For example, easy English is an intermediate step before real conversations.
You don't jump straight into fast movies or deep debates first. You take a smaller, safer step first. Okay, next word is exposure. You pronounce it exposure.
In simple words, exposure means how often you see, hear, or meet something.
Exactly. In language learning, exposure means how much English your brain is surrounded by every day. For example,
She improved her speaking because of constant exposure to English.
Oh, she just met English again and again.
Yes, speaking English fluently is not magic, it's exposure over time.
And the last word is automatic. You pronounce it automatic.
It means something happens by itself without thinking hard and without effort.
When something becomes automatic, your brain doesn't stop to plan or translate anymore. For example, with enough exposure, your reactions in English become automatic. You hear a question and your answer becomes more natural.
So when these words start to feel familiar, something interesting happens.
Exactly. Your brain stops saying, wait, translate first. You hear the word, you see the situation, and boom, you just understand it.
You know, exposure, intermediate steps, and practice make English automatic.
Yes, and once English feels familiar, your brain already knows what to do next. All right, before we wrap up, we just want to say one big thank you for spending your time with us today.
Yes, thank you for listening, thinking, and practicing along with us. That already means you're doing something right. And before you go, let's quickly share a few simple principles to help your output become more effective.
First, be consistent and take small steps. 10 to 15 minutes a day is more powerful than studying for hours once a week.
Second, accept mistakes. Making mistakes doesn't mean you're bad at English. It means you're learning. Be brave and try again.
And third, keep it fun. If practice feels enjoyable, your brain stays open, relaxed, and ready to learn. Now, we'd love to hear from you.
Will you focus more on improving your input, or do you want to start practicing output right away?
And if you're starting, what strategy will you choose? Leave a comment and let us know. We'd love to learn and grow with you.
And don't forget to like this episode, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next lessons.
Your support really helps us keep going.
Thanks again for listening.
See you in the next episode. Bye for now.